Today, we are going to dive into the 22 most common mistakes small business owners make as they develop and grow their businesses. We are going to dive right in because we have a lot to cover. So, mistake number one is ignoring customer feedback. Not listening to what customers have to say about your products or your services is a missed opportunity for improvement and growth. Customer feedback is invaluable for making the necessary adjustments and for creating customer loyalty. Number two, making assumptions. Assumptions can get us into a lot of trouble and cause a lot of misery, not just in business. But since we're focusing on the 22 most common business mistakes people make, let's stay focused. Assuming that everyone knows what you do and that you're taking clients is a mistake. Don't assume that people know who you are or what your business does. Tell them. Tell them what you offer and tell them that you are taking on clients. Everyone you know, even your kids, should know exactly what your business offers. Mistake number three, underestimating the power of networking. Many small business owners overlook the significance of building and maintaining a strong professional network. Networking can lead to partnerships, referrals, and opportunities that might have been accessible to you otherwise. If you're in business, building relationships should be on the list of the top 3 things that you spend your time on inside of your business. I actually did a podcast episode on networking and why most business owners hate it and also how to approach it. And you can go ahead and listen to that in, I think it was episode 103 of the podcast, if you want to scroll back and listen to it after this one. Number 4, not knowing their numbers. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't speak to at least one business owner that cannot tell me how much revenue they have made in the last 12 months or how much they want to make this year. Sometimes they know how much they want to make or at least need to make, but they have no idea what they've made over the last 12 months, so they have no idea what the gap is. They're also not really measuring things inside of their business, mostly because they aren't sure exactly what to measure. And for some, they are so focused on the doing that things like crunching numbers, doing budgets, looking at the hard fact data just doesn't happen because they don't have the time. Or perhaps it's because they're scared of what they might find when they do look at it. Nevertheless, you cannot change or improve what you don't measure. So it's worth the discomfort and the effort to get started. If you aren't quote unquote good with numbers, start small. Start with knowing what is coming in and what is going out of your business and check in on those 2 numbers at least once a week. Sometimes numbers can improve simply because we are giving it our attention. Number 5, giving up too soon. We often give up too soon because we are impatient. Patience is such an uncomfortable emotion, isn't it? We all want immediate results. And so we give up on our endeavors simply because we aren't seeing the kind of results we expect, often in an unrealistic time frame. But if we just stuck it out a bit longer, it would have worked. This makes me think about a metaphor that Esther Hicks always mentions in her talks. A farmer doesn't get impatient because his corn isn't ready to harvest within a week of planting the seeds. He knows that before he can harvest, there is a process that the seed needs to go through. He doesn't get upset about the time it takes. He knows that harvesting will happen when the process is complete. So if you're trying something new or testing things inside of your business, be sure to give it enough time to actually produce results. Make sure that you're allowing the time needed to collect enough data to make an informed decision about whether it is working or not. I always suggest 3 to 6 months. Number 6, speaking to the wrong people. This is when we are speaking to the people who don't want our services, who can't afford it, or who are never going to buy it, even though they need it. Super frustrating. So we do this instead of speaking to those who actually do want it. Now, it sounds like a silly mistake to make, but I see it so often when I coach my clients on their marketing efforts. They're focused on people who can't afford it rather than the ones who want to solve the problem and are willing to pay for it. It's a subtle shift, but a game changer once you make it. Mistake number 7, results entitlement. This is a term that I learned from fellow coach Olivia Vizacaro, thinking that just because we want it, we are entitled to have it. Not being willing to put in the effort required because we think that we are better than that. Now, it doesn't mean that you aren't worth more money or that you shouldn't have more, right? It simply means that what you put in is ultimately what you get out. If you want results, you have to be willing to do what is necessary to get it. And what's necessary isn't always the same as how much effort you think you need to put in. Often what's necessary is more effort than you thought you needed to put in. Mistake number 8, making gut decisions. This sounds like such a noble thing, right? Trust your gut. We hear it all the time. But after over a decade in business, I have learned that sometimes my gut is wrong. I'm not saying that you should ignore the intuition that Mother Nature blessed you with, but please do look at the data too before you make any impulsive decisions. Mistake number 9, marketing to everyone. Everyone isn't your customer. Everyone might need what you have. Not everyone values it enough to pay you for it. Mistake number 10, not saving for the winter months. Now, if you just thought about Jon Snow and the White Walkers, please connect with me on Instagram and let's be friends. Just like there are seasons in nature, there are seasons in business. Some months will rain cash, others will be drier than the Sahara Desert. As the business owner, you need to remember that you are the caretaker. You are in control. You need to take advantage of the months where cash flow is high, not by splurging on new office decor or a new car, right? Winter always comes. So make sure you have the reserves to take care of yourself and the business during those times. Mistake number 11, thinking it takes money to make money. This thought can get you into a lot of debt and unnecessary expenses that eat away your profits if you're not careful. It causes us to overspend and pay for things that we really actually don't need. Running a lean business is never a bad idea. Okay, mistake number 12. We're almost there. Stick with me. Being inconsistent. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence is not an act, it's a habit. And I'm not sure who said that, but it's absolutely true, right? Consistency is everything inside your business. You've got to show up on schedule even when it's uncomfortable. Mistake number 13, believing your limiting thoughts. Things like, I'm too old for this, or this won't work. Stop telling yourself these lies. If you scroll TikTok for a minute, you will see someone's grandma killing it and making a ton of money making videos she enjoys. There are people who have less resources, are less privileged, and have way more standing in their way than you do that are crushing it. Was it Henry Ford that said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right? Mistake number 14, forgetting that clients are everywhere. You never know where clients are going to come from. You don't know who is lurking on your social media, which sounds a little bit disturbing, but it's important to remember that even lurkers buy. Just because you don't personally know someone who is interested doesn't mean that someone isn't interested, right? Show up, tell people who you are and what you do. Make offers to help them. And if you have to assume something, assume that someone is connected with someone that you connected with today that they might tell about you and that a client can come out of nowhere. Mistake number 15, thinking that discomfort is a bad thing. Now, it's so easy to believe that when things feel hard, we are doing it wrong, but that simply isn't true. Discomfort is often a clue that we are on the right track. You cannot get to where you want to be by staying where it is comfortable. So embrace the discomfort and take it as a sign that you're on the right path. Mistake number 16, taking advice from the wrong people. How often do you take advice from your friends or family or some random person on the internet when it comes to your business? Our friends and family often mean well, but they aren't our ideal customers. And let's face it, they probably are never going to buy from us, right? And so we should be careful about following their advice on a whim. Mistake number 17, thinking that you're too small or too busy for systems. Many business owners think that systems are too boring or too tedious or for the big dogs. And so they never experience the freedom and sustainable growth that can come from having the right structures in place inside of their business. Number 18, using a coach or mentor's advice against yourself. Listen, I'm a coach, but you don't always have to do what a mentor or coach tells you to do. Remember that you are still in the driver's seat. This is still your business, and you are responsible for the decisions you make in it. Coaches and mentors can be a great asset. I highly recommend them, but don't be afraid to speak up when their suggestions don't feel aligned with your goals and your values. Mistake number 19, thinking no one can do it as well as you can. This kind of thinking is what is creating a lot of overworked and burnt out business owners in this world. If we want to build a business that can fuel our life, we need to be willing to remove ourselves as the linchpin in the business as much as possible so that we can have more of the time freedom that we desired when we started and also create space to make a higher contribution to our business and ultimately the people that we are called to serve. Mistake number 20, not knowing why you're doing what you're doing. Knowing and reminding ourselves of our biggest or bigger purpose, rather, why we are in business is important if we want to stay motivated and get ourselves through the hard parts. If you don't love what you're doing, you won't do what is necessary to reach your goals. Now, a little bit of a side note, disclaimer, loving what you do and doing it from a place of alignment to a deeper purpose does not mean that there won't be days where you hate the work. But if you're hating it more than you're loving it, something needs to shift. Mistake number 21, not keeping business and personal finances separate. Most of the business owners I attract want to build or have a lifestyle business. They're not necessarily looking to grow a large organization that employs thousands of people. But just because you are intentionally choosing to build a lifestyle business and keeping things on a smaller scale does not mean that you aren't still running a business. It's important to keep business money and personal money separate as much as possible and to view your business as a living, breathing entity with its own needs. If you're always taking everything, i.e. the money, out of the business, then the business won't be able to survive for a long time, right? It often helps to think about your business or the business's money, not as your money, right? But as the business's money. Keep money inside the business for taxes and reserves so that there are funds available when you want to grow or invest back into your business. The last mistake, number 22, is not making offers. People can't pay you if you don't sell something to them. And selling isn't a curse word. Selling is simply inviting people to work with you. Your business exists because it solves a specific problem, a need, or a want for specific people. Those people need to know that you can help them and that you have something of value on offer that they will gladly exchange for cash or would exchange their cash for. People need to know that you're open for business, and the only way they will know is if you make offers to help them. That's it, my friends. I am sure that you have recognized yourself in a few of these mistakes. This is not a problem. Like Maya Angelou always said, once we know better, we do better. I'll see you next week.